sausage.
No.
One more foe to overcome.
What is this?
Come on.
Oh, keep it out. All right, here it is. Oh! That's crazy.
Hello and welcome to the Board Game Barrister Barbecue. I'm Andy and I'm here with Glenn and Ian, and today we're talking Sausage Sizzle, a kind of charmingly weird dice game where we are playing as the Australian critters trying to steal sausage off of a grill. Let's get into it. Welcome to Sausage Sizzle, the little dice game where we're playing as the critters trying to steal sausages off the barbecue. To get started, everybody at the table needs a set of 6 critters, one of each different type. We've got platypus, kangaroo, quokkas, we've got echidnas, snakes, and crocodiles, and once everybody has one of those 6 tokens, we're ready to get started. Now to start a player's turn, that player is going to roll all 8 dice in the game. We've got 4 critter dice that show each of the different 6 types of critters on their 6 different sides. And we've got the barbecue dice, the red and orange ones here, which we're trying to score as many high numbers off of as possible. The main goal on your turn is to not have any low numbers showing on those dice. Let's get started by making a roll. Alright, here's what I've got. Now, most turns you're going to be making multiple rolls because you're trying to kind of perfectly refine the dice faces showing on these, but the one rule is that you have to save at least one of the dice you've rolled. You can save as many as you want to, though. So for instance, these 5s are pretty good results. I might want to keep the 5s. And then I've got a pretty big spread of animals. I don't have multiples of any of them, and multiples are good. I want as many of an animal as possible by the end of my round, so I might actually not save any of these animals and just see what I get on another roll. Alright, now that's paid off slightly. I've got 2 echidnas, and a pair is great. If I can get more of those by the end of the round, that's even better. So let's save those and see what we roll next. Here I've rolled my first sausage. Sausages count as 1s and are not very good, but if you can find a sausage on all 4 of your barbecue dice, then they're worth 7. I've already saved non-sausages, so a sausage is useless to me. I'm not saving that die. But I have to save something. Maybe I'll save this 3 this turn. A nice result there, and 1 more echidna. We'll save that. I'm going to keep rolling these. And now these 8 die faces are our end result for the turn. Scoring a turn is easy. All we're going to do is look at the lowest number on any die. So we have a low 3, and we're going to multiply that by the number of critters we're using this turn. What that means is I have to declare what critter I want to score, and I can only score each critter once in the entire game. So if I score echidnas now, which is my plan, I'll flip my echidna token to its dark side. I can't score them again. And that's my multiplier for my critters. So I get 3 points times 3 points, I get 9. And then it's the next player's turn and we continue around the circle. One very noteworthy fact about these dice is that the orange dice have only 1 sausage face, but they have 2 5 faces. So this can inform after your first roll or 2 how you want to proceed in that round. The red dice have 2 sausages. It is far easier to find a sausage on a red die roll than an orange die, but they only have 1 5 on them. So we kind of had a common rule of thumb that if you had rolled 2 sausages on your oranges, you just had to go for it on the reds. It was way easier to pull off 4 sausages that way. And like we talked about, if you can pull off that coveted 4 sausage roll, suddenly all my sausage faces count as 7. So my low number here is a 7. I'll be getting 7 times whatever critter I score. Now by the end of the game, you will have gone through all of your critters except 1, and that means you have only 1 choice as to what critter you can score. So in this case, I would be very specifically looking for platypus on my dice. And at the end of 6 rounds, after every player has scored all 6 critters, we're going to score everybody up and see who won it. Should have kept them.
Do I keep the kangaroo or do I go for a double platypus? So I'm a huge fan of dice games. We all know this. I'm super lucky. This time I was last place, unfortunately, probably because it's an Australian game and everything's backwards. But this one was really neat because it heavily rewards you for taking the risk. You get a large amount of points when you are able to Yahtzee out, so to speak, or roll the sausages in this one. And I always love those games where it's always risk it for the biscuit. And, you know, Andy said it best when we were playing that you're only ever really punished for your own greed rather than being punished by the luck of the dice rolls. So it felt really fun to shake on your turn. And I was super engaged watching my opponents play too, because even when they got their thing, it was this all the table cheered because they got their final platypus or their final sausage on the Barbie.
Yeah, the design of the game keeps the tension in every player's turn so well. You never really see whether a player is going to like hit it big or fail out entirely until the bitter end, because they're only going to be keeping that like maybe one die at a time that keeps them in it for a possible high score. So it usually comes down to the last like 2 or 3 dice out of the 8 in the game before you know whether a player's turn is going to really boom or bust. So it's a really great, you don't have these really feel bad rolls where you're like, oh, it's nothing but crap, because you know that you can just keep a little bit of what's in there, an animal you haven't scored with yet maybe, and then try to score big off the rest.
I love that this game, using these tokens, you have a built-in, basically, end mechanic. Because I've played other dice games where someone has to reach a certain score, and it can just drag and drag and drag. And this one, it's like, all right, I did my crocodiles, I did my stakes, I did my play, and as those tokens go away, you know the game is getting closer and closer to that end without having to worry about counting up how many points everyone else has to see if they're close to, winning the game. No, it's based on these tokens, and I love that we have the built-in end mechanic.
Uh-oh. 3 points so far?
Perfect round. It can be a perfect round still.
Yeah, it's right here. Pink and sausage. Oh!
There you are.
It can be a perfect round.
I mean, it's still, now it's really good.
Give me the 28.
Yeah, what? No.
One of my favorite parts in the course of playing this was the kind of like dual goal in every turn, and it changed how you were going to approach your turn based on your first roll and what you saw, whether it was a strong animal showing or a strong sausage or dice showing. If I roll 3 5s on the dice, I'm like, all right, I'll probably stick with the 5s and just try to get my 5 as my multiplier for whatever animal I choose. But there were times when it was like, I'm down to 2 animals and I just rolled 3 of the animal that I still need to score this time. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to kind of let the dice be the secondary thing and really just commit in the animals this time. And at the end of the day, you had to do both to score well. We had people score all 4 sausages, which feels super triumphant and amazing. But if you can't find a good multiplier in the animals, if you only get one of the animal type you're going to score, that's still only a 7-point turn, which doesn't feel great for a turn where you pulled off the sausages. So it's a really cool duality mechanic there, which also adds into like a cool part this dice game have that a lot don't, which is a multiplication element. That means this game's going to be really good for kids who are learning multiplication. Like once you get like 7 or 8-year-olds probably who are trying to work on those multiplication tables, every turn to score your points, you got to do a little math.
Well, and the mechanics aren't too difficult either, so you're kind of just donking around, shaking dice into a thing. So I think playing with the younger kids, yeah, you can get into the heavy strategy. Me and Andy talked about it in our playthrough, where you take this one because then this risk or this probability or that, this, that, or the other, or take these 3 because they're high numbers and blah, blah, blah. But like when you play with the family and with the kids and that kind of thing, you don't need to do it that way. You can just be shaking dice around and, like Andy just said, try and get, the right animals or the right ones and hedge your bets that way. And I think it'll fit really, really well for those families that just want to have a nice luck-based game that's got some good math to it and a little bit of strategy. You can spend a ton of time thinking through the probabilities and stuff to get literally a minute amount of reward for it, but you don't have to, right? It's just kind of, again, you can just shake the dice and let fate play out as it is, and that works really well for those fun kind of aha, yes, cheer moments where we got all the animals or we got the 28 turn. We only had 1. Yeah, we had 1 in our game where we got the max points. That always feels really great when you do that.
All right, that does it for Sausage Sizzle. We had a really fantastic time with this one. We hope you had fun watching. Hit that like, leave a comment if you got one, subscribe to see new videos every week. You know the deal. And as always, check out our online store. Sausage Sizzle is in there now, and so are a ton of other cool games. Thanks so much for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time.